recently, so I'm
lost one match.
Exactly, so I'm going to go with them. Storm versus the Raiders. Cam Munster might be out for the Storm, which is potentially significant. I want the Raiders to win. Obviously, they've got, our boys playing for them. So I'm gonna go the Green Machine. I'm going the same issue on those. Make sure you get your fan views in on all of those games after they happen. And in fact, in terms of the Challenge Cup, we would love it if we are joined by a fan of the winning side on next week's show. So if you're a Leeds or Salford fan and want to be involved in next week's show, do reach out to us on the social media platforms and let us know, and we'll try and get people involved to talk about that. I have to think a little bit about how it will be, because normally the Challenge Cup final show is just about the Challenge Cup final. Can't be the case this time around, so we'll have to think about how we work it in, but we'll definitely want to have some fans involved. And another thing I was potentially thinking about doing is maybe having some sort of watch along for the final, but I haven't really thought the logistics of that out yet either. But I thought I'd mention it as a potential opportunity for maybe, I don't know, some sort of Zoom call or something where we all have the call on and we're talking to each other whilst we watch the game, maybe is an idea. So if there is any interest in me doing that, then get in touch as well, because we'll all be watching it. But yeah, short of that, and even if we do that, make sure you get your fan views in on the games for us to talk about on next week's show. Right, let's jump into the wrap up and get this one done.
Cool.
SLP quiz team, Alan, and the quiz this week is inspired by the Salford link up with Wales. So it will be about Welsh internationals that have featured for Salford.
Okay.
We did a bit of Welsh Rugby League history on last week's quiz, so we won't be going deep into the history with legends like Gus Risman, Colin Dixon, David Watkins. They're not involved in this. It's going to be Super League era players. People might be pleased to know. So I've got 3 questions for you, 3 players to name. Like I say, all of them Welsh internationals who've played for Salford. So question 1, or player 1 for you to guess, is Wrexham-born winger who has the record for the most tries for Wales. He's in his second spell with Salford after previously having a loan spell for them in 2013.
Give people a minute if they want to make their guess. I would assume it's Rhys Williams.
It is Rhys Williams, yeah. Interestingly, he didn't score a single try in his loan spell at Salford back in 2013. So yeah, his try prowess maybe came on later, but he's got over 20 tries for Wales, so he's doing good there. In 30, I think he's got 22 in 30 appearances or something like that off the top of my head from what I looked at. Second one, primarily a loose forward in his 15 appearances for Wales. Salford in 2016 was his last Super League stop for this Huddersfield-born forward, who was best known probably for 3 years at Widnes, although had spells with 10 different sides during a professional career that started with the Giants in 2004 and ended with Workington in 2017.
Oh, goodness me. More clubs than Tiger Woods and all that. I don't think I'm going to get that one. Sorry.
It's the bouncer turned wrecking ball. That is Phil Joseph.
I swear to God, Phil Joseph has been an answer on this quiz before, and I haven't got it at that time
either. Finally, then, for you to get more than half marks, it's the Bath-born forward who played 30 times for Wales in an international career that ran from 2003 with a try-scoring debut against Russia through to 2013 with a narrow World Cup loss to the Cook Islands. His club career saw him spend time at all levels of the British game and included a 2-season spell with Salford in 2012 and 2013, but he's maybe most famous for being the first Take Me Out contestant to be left with all 30 lights still on in the final round.
You'd have to know something about contemporary culture and ITV shows, which I know naff all about.
Come on. This has been mentioned enough times in the last 6 years for you to get it.
But I don't care about it.
But every time he swapped clubs, which was a lot, it was mentioned. No?
No, sorry.
Jordan James.
There
you go. One for the ladies there. Okay.
Jordan 30 likes James. There you
go. Any other business? What recommendations and anything else do you want to put onto the listeners' agenda this week, Al?
Okay, my recommendation this week is it's podcast related, but it's not another podcast. It's a podcast platform I'm recommending. So those who have iPhones may have updated their software recently, and the kind of standard podcast player became really difficult to use in my eyes. All the kind of logical things I used to do didn't work anymore, and it just really annoyed me. And people had recommended Overcast as a potential player to use. And people have talked about it because it has this, what they call smart speed thing. So rather than speeding it up to like 1.5 times or something and you're sounding a bit like a chipmunk, what it does is it somehow removes the silences.
Well, that's no good for anyone who wanted a bit of tension for the quiz, Al.
Okay, well, but you that's an option. You don't have to play it. So you could switch the smart speed off. So switch it off for the quiz and see if you can do better than 1 out of 3. But yeah, so if you're listening to, if somebody who listens to podcasts that go on for a little bit,
like us,
mentioning none in particular, it's really good because it kind of it condenses a show, but you don't feel like it's being condensed particularly, and it's very effective. So I would recommend Overcast because it's it's available free and all that kind of stuff. But for me, it's been much better than the standard Apple one. So yeah, Overcast is my recommendation.
Cool, good stuff. I've been reading Fake Law from the Secret Barrister, the Twitter sensation that is. Now, I've always felt a little bit wary of someone that comes out with a lot of content but doesn't put their name to it. However, I thought the chance to sort of get an understanding of things outweighs that concern I have.
Yes.
So I bought the book. I think it's the Secret Barrister's second book actually, but I didn't have the first book. But I bought the book and I'm halfway through it now, so I feel confident in my recommendation. It's really good. It's really interesting. I might have mentioned it already actually when I started reading it a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember. But what it does really well is it doesn't like let the lawyers get away with everything. It doesn't let the law be unchallenged, but it explains things. It gives perspective for anyone who wants to like find maybe a more rounded understanding of things. I think it's a good book at kind of looking behind some sensationalist headlines to see what the more general picture is, to give you balance on two sides of an argument, which I think our press in this country completely fail to do. And in the world of populist politics that we live in now, we're also, as a society, failed on that front of any sort of concept of balance, bias, like lack of bias, or even just an objective bias rather than a subjective bias and stuff. So I have been enjoying reading it. And the other thing, slightly like less serious, that we've been enjoying this week is the Anna Kendrick vehicle Love Life that's showing on BBC iPlayer, which is good. Although I keep struggling to get, because the only thing I really know her from is those Pitch Perfect films, which I enjoyed as happy fodder to pass some time watching. And I keep struggling in my head to think that. I keep thinking how she got into working in art museums and stuff after being a music producer, and I have to remember she's playing two different characters.
Yeah, she's an actor, and that's how it works.
Yeah, and she hasn't been to the Hilton yet. Like she was in a whole different hotel. So I didn't know what was going on there either. But we've been enjoying that, to be honest. It is a nice show with some challenging themes, if I'm being fair, but dealt with in a soft enough way that you don't get bogged down by them, and you can challenge them if you want to, but similarly you can just feel like softly entertained by what is a decent program. Actually, the more I think about it, the more challenging themes there are in it. But
well, the best ones always do. I mean, Anna and I watched a film on Saturday night that was so challenging that she's been relegated to watching Legally Blonde and Clueless over the last couple of nights just to try to get over it. So there's definitely something. There's something to be said for kind of wrapping serious topics into a kind of a lighter theme, I would say. There's definitely something in that.
To watch Clueless. Always room to watch Clueless.
I've never seen it.
Some of Legally Blonde. I can't remember. We might have watched the whole thing actually for the first time ever not that long ago. Probably in the same theme that things are so fucked at the moment that something so light and just like mind vacating is an enjoyable experience to have. But
yes,
my mum once bought me the Legally Blonde trilogy DVD box set, right? Because
why?
Because she thought it was my favourite film, and she was always surprised by it being my favourite film, and even more surprised that it was my favourite film yet I didn't own it, right? So she thought, oh, it's on offer in this shop, I'll buy it and I'll give it in for Christmas. So on Christmas Day, I open it up and I'm like, what's this? And she was like, well, I saw it like cheap and I thought, you've not got it, but it's your favourite film. I was like, I've never seen it. I've never seen it. It's not my favourite film. And she was like, I'm convinced. She told me. And like this went. I left the box set there at her house. I said, I'm not being like rude or anything, but you're going to get more out of watching this than I am, because you clearly have watched it before and enjoy it. I've got no interest in really watching it, so I'll leave it with you, Mum. And then she got me like a nice jumper or a nice shirt or something as well that year. It was fine.
Socks,
I was very generous. I was very like not generous, very gracious about the other present. It's just that one was like, what's the point? But my birthday is about 2 or 3 weeks after Christmas, and so I saw her again close to Christmas on my birthday, and by that point she'd figured it out. She'd had a dream where I told her in the dream that it was my favourite film, and the dream was clearly so vivid.
Yeah, she's well, number one, she's somebody who remembers the dreams, which is not everybody.
Yeah. Kooky new age people tend to, though, don't they? There you go.
Man, imagine dreaming that and thinking, yeah, that's completely that's completely in character, definitely.
Yeah.
That and miscongeniality, yeah.
The other thing that's been taking a bit of my focus this week is I think I'm becoming a bit broody, because everyone around me is having babies, and when we were walking the other week in the Yorkshire Dales on our anniversary, we saw this guy carrying a little baby. He must have been maybe 6 months old, if that, and he had like a thick knitted bobble hat on with a massive bobble on the top, and I just thought that's the cutest thing ever. So anyway, my friend Craig then had a baby boy. He's showing his wife had a baby boy, so I bought this baby one of these hats to try and sort of pacify my broodiness onto their baby. So yeah, there you go.
Well, we'll look forward to the pitter patter of tiny feet next year then. Cool.
Well, there's plenty of it going on. Next door I've just had a baby, and Sam, another one of my best friends, he's having his second baby soon. So everyone else is doing it for us. It's fine. It's fine. Right, next week, me and Tim are going to be talking about Challenge Cup. Tim's going to be talking about how desperately close physically he is to the Challenge Cup final without being able to attend. And hopefully, a fan from the Challenge Cup winners will be along to be a part of the show as well. Next Monday night is when we'll be recording it on Skype. That's the sort of things people need to have in their minds if they want to be a part.